Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and welcome back to another episode of... Two things before we get going. One, I completely forgot that today was supposed to be Butter Bunch Reaction Day. If there's no D&D going on, there isn't. I actually prepared for D&D tomorrow because there will be a video that's coming out that's a VOD, which actually, to be honest, is about 4 hours long, so it may end up lasting longer than a D&D session itself. So there you go. You'll be well tended to. Second thing is that I adjusted my mic settings a little bit, so if there's any issues with the audio, please type "what" in the comments. I guess the third thing is that StreamYard has given me a Halloween pack, and since I won't be here tomorrow for Halloween, and it's going to technically become Halloween if I go on for more than 2 hours. Here you go. Here's a candy border of something. Ooh, or perhaps a haunted corner. No, that's distracting. I don't like it. I don't like it. Let's focus on something else. That's a very good Halloween classic thing to focus on. Magical girls. Why not? It's been a while since we've actually looked at anything that was Pops related. This is not Pops related. This is, I guess, a different fan product. One that predates the Super Pops by a considerable amount, actually. And weird enough, I have a bit of a strange history with, actually. So the first anime that I ever saw was, I believe the original title was Futari wa Precure, actually, but they just called it Precure when it was when it was on TV. That's because there was only one of them at the time. Since then, Precure or Precure has had several different iterations, including Glitter Force and stuff like that. But as far as I know, the one that I watched first was the original. And so that means that my kickstart into anime was actually magical girl themed. So that explains a lot, quite frankly. The second one that I watched was actually also magical girl themed, but mermaids, actually. That was Mermaid Melody, still one of my favorites to this very day. So, yeah. Again, explains a significant amount about me, to be honest. It explains also why I've missed talking about something like this a lot. So today we have Shining Rainbow Precure. Actually, one thing that I will put in is like some sort of background. There we go. Can do that at least. So yeah, Shining Rainbow Precure. Not something that I know much about, but is on the Gacha Fest playlist, or episode 17 is. And I thought, okay, wow, something that I've got to catch up for 17 whole episodes of this thing. I better get a move on. As it turns out, this series has been running consistently since 2020, making it one of the longest running gacha series ever. Not the longest, obviously. In fact, actually, I think The Guardians is actually itself is about a year older than this. So you can imagine where the Mutant Girl fits in, obviously. So yeah, we have yeah, it's quite something. So yeah, as it turns out, there's a lot of new people showing up, apparently. Epic Man 33456 says, not expecting this. Interesting, because that means you must be, like, you know, either you joined the channel after we finished watching all the Pop stuff, or you're a fan of this series and want to expect me to review it. Either way, welcome. Same thing applies to Ina Makiga, actually, which also... lot of childhood memories. I actually went to school with a girl named Ina, who later on I found out actually dyed her hair pink. So core memories are being unlocked right now, to be honest. So honestly, and if there was anyone in that school who would end up becoming a magical girl, it would have been her. So that's just how it goes, I suppose. Anyway, enough stalling, I suppose. Let's go ahead and begin this. It's going to be nostalgic for a number of reasons. Like I said earlier. I'm going to say, oh, well, okay, fair enough. Enjoy the VOD whenever it happens. And happy Halloween. If this was right for a pretty cool story. That's also true. Yeah, that's a fair point. I don't know anything beyond what happens in the original Pretty Cure, because I I've watched one episode of Glitter Force and I don't remember it very well. So any of the other iterations that happened later, what people like now are familiar with in terms of its essence, I'm not super in tune with. Perhaps that's another rabbit hole I should actually go down because I just finished binge watching Death Note, so of course Pretty Cure is next on should be next on the list. Not a tonal shift in the slightest. So I'll deal with that later. For now, let's watch a fan product of a thing that I haven't watched in extent. So without further ado, on with the review.
Anna, wake up! You're gonna be late for your first day of school.
I know.
Normally I complain about the volume of this, but actually, to be honest, considering like how close the character is, it makes sense.
I already have school, Mom. I'll just get ready then.
Mum? Okay, this is the classic thing of the characters looking like gacha characters, it being very difficult to portray them looking different ages. So yeah, these two, if you said that they were sisters, I would have completely acknowledged that. And normally that's the thing with like, okay, fine, you're doing what you can with gacha, but this one, I think it's the eyes particularly that make them look so much younger. Because here's the thing, this is another weird like core memory. My brother used to be really into art and drawing, and at one point he actually had this book that showed like how to draw in manga style. Don't know if he still has it. It's probably somewhere buried deep or whatever. And I ended up just flicking through it at one point because honestly, a lot of the things that I got into reading later on were things that he had actually like got first, and then I ended up going down a deep rabbit hole. That's how I read most of Diary of a Wimpy Kid at the time. And also Percy Jackson, so, but anyway, back to this. I end up just like checking out like one page, and the one thing I remember is that the eye size of characters in manga usually gives you an idea of how old they are. Depends on the art style, obviously, but if a character has really massive eyes, like to this degree, it's usually because you're meant to see them as much younger, or they are much younger. That's why that's why chibi characters like Gacha themselves have gigantic eyes in the first place. It's also how this works in real life because your eyes and I think nose and such don't change shape as you age, and so they look, and so that's why they're like much larger on kids, and you have like, oh, look at those big eyes and all that stuff. That's why those happen. So yeah, manga just kind of like exaggerates that. So clearly we're going with the style of in style of Pretty Cure, of course, they're going with that idea, with all of the characters, and it's only making the matter of having the characters look older much worse because if you're giving the characters intentionally bigger eyes and having all of them have those same eyes, aside from same face syndrome, which is an issue in gacha in general, it's going to make people think, oh, okay, this character, is is even more likely to be the same age. So it's, yeah, basically. Fair enough then. Oh, so you are involved with the production. Yeah, I thought so. That was one of the, and you too. It was one of the male characters, Jay. Okay, I will bear that in mind. When we get to Jay, I suppose. I'm obsessed with the Fairy Magic series until I pretty good series managed to read like 100 books of the plot getting boring. Yeah, seems like I really need to look into a lot of this. Apparently, it was white watching the English dub though. The original version was amazing. Interesting. So of course, because this is from my formative years, I actually watched Pretty Cure in Spanish because I was in Spain at the time. So that's why, and the same with Mermaid Melody as well. In fact, honestly, I think Mermaid Melody is one of the best, is like the best Spanish dub I have still ever seen to this day. But that's a whole other rabbit hole. I want to deep dive in at some other point. But yeah, I will bear that in mind because something like the Spanish, I was gonna maybe check out the Spanish dub of this stuff. The Spanish dubs sometimes take a lot of inspiration from the English dubs, but they have like mix them up with the Japanese one or like the French one, depending on which show it is. But in the case of anime Japanese, so yeah, I don't know. I'll bear that in mind. Thank you for pointing that out. We'll see what happens. Pretty Cure guide and review spoiler free. Oh well, Okay, fair enough. Yeah, send that my way. Okay, back to the video.
then.
Don't get distracted. Okay, this is where I got up to in when the video was playing. Because I got called. I got interrupted while I was like setting up the stream. For reasons I don't want to get into, and I came back and it was still playing, and I realized, oh wait a minute, wait, this music I recognize at a heartbeat. You know how I mentioned Mermaid Melody a couple of times? You know, and how great it is? This is part of the Mermaid Melody soundtrack, which I was not expecting at all. Like, what are the odds that, again, the two first anime I ever watched end up converging in this project? So, yeah. I'm not sure why they're using that particular soundtrack. Not that it's like not a good soundtrack, copyright aside, but, you know. And of course, I would mute it, but it's a voice acted production, so I kind of can't do that. So, you know, enjoy this video not being monetized.
OMG! Did mom actually bought me this?
Yeah, so when you said the voice actors changed, I don't think you meant like from one scene to the next, but okay, fair enough then. Feels like a different performance altogether.
Better try it on.
Ugh, Anna.
You know something? I'm actually kind of impressed that, you know, a child of any sort would instantly try on clothes that their parents give them without any hesitation. Fair enough, I guess.
What's up, sis?
Oh, what's...
Also, speaking of clothes, yeah, having these outlines with that hair seeming to, like, blend into itself, that doesn't quite work here. This is one thing where I understand what you're trying to do, like, you know, have, like, the outlines themselves, you know, match the clothes, basically, you know, having not just be, like, all, like, black outlines or something. Particularly because that was one of, like, the things you could do in Gacha Club, and it was relatively recent at this time. I kind of understand that. However, when the outlines aren't doing their job of outlining something, it defeats the purpose of their entire existence. So that's why like my personal preferred method is to have outlines of some kind for something, but if you know it's going to be an issue, just like darken them so it's the same like dark color version of whatever you have. Exactly, that's what I was saying. Can't see the sister's shirts because it just looks like she's just a disembodied head for the most part. That's what I meant.
Some Miss Bossy.
Why, Iota?
Okay. Yeah, I'm guessing that, you know, in the other Pretty Girl stuff, like, that's what they kind of look like. So, fair enough. Points for adaptation. That being said, I would have sped up, like, the sound effects. Just, like, have them more, like, close together and, like, loop that way. So it's like a bat, 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 bat. So it kind of, it's meant to, most fights are very, like, fast in the first place. Like, they're very fast paced. And it doesn't help when you have, like, hiya, you know, that kind of thing doesn't quite work. I to say if it's soy in Spanish was tequila. Oh my goodness. You know that actually the first day that that I got to Spain, there was some you know, of course, you know, every new kid gets hazed. There was a group that I sat next to with some of my classmates, and what they wanted to do was say, you know, they wanted to tell me that, oh yeah, say like, you know, I'm good or something. So they told me that I'm good was soy tonto. So they wanted to be like, say, you know, declare soy tonto. Of course, the thing that they failed to account for was that I might not have spoken the language very well at the time. I might have also been 7 years old, but I was not an idiot, so I did not do this. I could tell from their reactions that, you know, there was something up there, which is why, you know, character reactions are important in media because they tell you a lot. It works in real life as well, let me tell you that. And yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah, I'm trying to remember because, like, again, like in the original Pretty Cure, there was only like 2 magical girls who were literally just called like Cure Black and Cure White because that's what their color scheme was. I'm pretty sure they didn't have black and white hair. No, they didn't. In fact, I think one of them had orange hair. The other one had, it was like dark bluish, basically. I think it's been a long time. I've got to rewatch that again. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, so I guess that was a thing that once the the color scheme started getting more colorful, that's I can see that happening in later on.
You are the dumbest sister I ever had.
And you're the worst sister ever, Starlight.
Okay, yeah, this like main character here. Well, first of all, Starlight. I mean, I guess to be honest, like Japanese names do end up sounding like that a lot some of the time. Not gonna lie. But I believe there's one that was like Star Child or something if you translate it. Okay, sure. Performance-wise, with this the voice actor, I think Anna at this point, yeah, I don't get frustrated sister energy or like just insulted energy. Similar to like how the fight was not paced correctly, this one's like, and you're the worst sister ever. How dare you?
Starlight, quit hitting your sister. Bye, Anna and Starlight.
Okay, so again, similar. Gacha Club was new at this point, and I'm glad that someone was exploring the foregrounds that mostly people have ignored over the years. I wonder if this is a thing that carried over for the rest of the series, as it's still continuing to this day. I look forward to finding out.
Clipper, eat your...
And also, not gonna lie, that's a very easy way to imply, like, a door. Because that's what, like, the banes of people's existence is that, the fact that you can't interact with doors, or close them behind you, or, like, have them in scenes. I remember specifically that, like, one character, one time, Aiden didn't have a character more when I, like, walk into a door because, like, she was, like, just had tail out of frame beforehand. And I said that in the script that her tail would be, like, blocked by the door frame. She had to walk in because it was the point to... Every time Moana gets introduced in a new show, by the way, she always has her tail hidden in the first scene, and then, like, a character reacts to it, and then so, it clears away. That's been a thing all the way back since the original. Yeah. Sorry, I read something else here about, like, how embarrassed it's not in, but it was not. You need to stop listening to this one girl, apparently. She's just not helping you at all. Yeah. We call that false friends, by the way, in when like things are like not translated. It's like how like sensible and sensitive and the words sensible and sensato are actually reversed. So sensible is sensato or sensata, and sensible is sensitive. Yeah, basically that. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so having like something that like naturally would mask where a door happens to be, and just playing the sound effect is a very ingenious way of doing that. I might use that from now on.
Breakfast first before you leave.
Starlight, are you enjoying this new...
And this is also the sound effect of the bell from Mermaid Melody. I'm happy and confused at the same time. Unless like the soundtrack like happens to have also been used in other productions, like it happens to be also for like used in like other in like Precure stuff, not just Mermaid Melody. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe, I don't know. Anyone who's more familiar with the franchise, do they use like these sound effects and not like the school bells or the or like the music? Yeah, it's like I'm not complaining, but also what the heck? The video. Okay, good. All right.
school that we were in?
That being said, normally when they do this in Mermaid Melody, they have they have an establishing shot of the school or characters walking to the school, so you hear, so they play the bell a bit more without them talking over it as much.
Jeez, I was trying to act nice.
Like, OMG, we're like so popular.
Huh? I know.
That's one of the background characters saying that. Just what a way to introduce characters. You know, something that reminds me of like there's a channel called Overanalyzing Avatar, which overanalyzes Avatar. It's in the name. And yeah, one of the things that that they focused on the first few episodes was like the first lines of certain characters and what I said about them. Okay. Those are pretty inconsistent. Well, I mean, so far we're gonna watch 2 episodes today because that's what we have. That's what we'll most likely have time for, and also I'm fairly tired, and also have a song to produce for tomorrow as well. So yeah, I gotta get a move on. But but yeah, we'll see how consistent they are from one episode to the next. in a moment.
No, right? Hey, Alice, there's a new student in the school. Let's have a chat with her.
Good idea. Stacy, let's have a chat.
Is there something I can do for you girls?
What's wrong with your hair? Ew.
What is wrong with your face?
I know, right?
Come on, girls.
Hey, leave her alone.
Leave her alone, or I shall be forced to raise my voice at you. That's right. On you, Trot. I was clearly intimidating for you.
Oh, hello. What's your name?
Oh, what's her name? Oh, this is not... I thought it was her brother from, like, the previous episode scene. Oh, wait, no, he didn't go to school with them. Okay. So I guess we just have, like, another character with, like, this... Sure, yeah, okay. Yeah, all right, yeah, okay. Sure.
My name is Anna.
Also, I like how he gets to have, like, normal eyes. It's only the girls that get the cute eyes, I suppose.
Nice to meet you, Anna. I'm Jay.
Wow, a guy named Jay is actually really cute.
Okay, so now we know who Jay is. Fair enough. Yeah, say hello to the love interest that looks related to the main character. Again, I assume that happens in the rest of Precure. Like, I need to check, but I'm guessing that was why it was adapted that way. Okay, then. In with brown hair and wearing a blue jacket sounded really far away from her mic, but the line was supposed to be yelling from a distance. Honestly, that would have worked for the OMG was so popular line if, like, the person that, like, backed up. But yeah, his belt is hideous. It looks like he has a part-time job at McDonald's. What, this looks like the McDonald's uniform, specifically?
But there's no time, but we need to head over to class now.
Oh, okay.
Hello, students. Welcome to your first day of class.
I'm your teacher who sounds younger than all of you do.
Today we're going to be talking about science. So get your notebook and write them down.
Psst, Anna, throw them.
Wait, hold on. Get your notebook and write them down? What's them in this context? We're going about science, write them down. I mean, do you want to say, like, write in them? But if so, what are you writing? You haven't started teaching yet. What? There's very few love interest in candidates to know aside. Oh, okay, fair enough. Because actually, in the original Precure, there was one of the main characters, Nagisa, was actually, you know, that had a love interest that was, you know, like very consistent, I think. And as it was the first time I ever saw like the misheard confession cliche as well. Again, I got started very early with this kind of thing. Not long after people tried to trick me into saying soy tonto, which I didn't. It was the same year. Yeah, okay. Well, so I guess they just glossed over that, and maybe they didn't want to have like love interest for like, you know, lots of people once they like had to split up the focus for more characters. Because that's another thing, of course. The fact there was only 2 magical girls in the original Precure means that the focus was split pretty evenly between them. So yeah, I guess that will be something different going forward. Maybe they won't end up being, you know, so much like a yin and yang as the last 2 were. I don't know. As parents-looking couple, yeah. I mean, just in general, that's usually an issue in Gacha. I thought it was from the original franchise, but apparently not. Yeah. It usually applies to parents a lot of the time. Was like, yes, make them just look like the child and therefore clones of each other. But I suppose we're gonna get it here for no points for predicting what their future babies are gonna look like.
That paper to Alice.
But why should I do that, Stacy?
Just do it.
Ow! Teacher, Anna threw a paper on me.
Seriously, Anna?
Oh, I thought. Wait, so you're like crying the second the paper left her hands? What was that about? I mean, sure, if that was meant to be like the person throwing it, then fine. But did it like bounce back and hit her? Did you get a paper cut or something? What was that about? Like, yeah, there's a piece of paper for you. What happened?
Throwing a paper on a student on the first day of school? That is totally unacceptable. What kind of student are you? I'm afraid I have to send you to the principal's office.
Hey,
me!
Yeah, personally, again, I would have saved the crying for when she like gets like told, and or when she like actually ends up, being told off. But okay.
That's not true. I saw Stacy talking to Anna.
Anna didn't throw that paper. Stacy forced her to throw it.
Oh, so
Oh yeah, by the way, this is one like Gacha constraints that they didn't fix in Gacha Club, which was the desks being they have a sole separate sitting pose for that in case people don't know, and so when you have character stands up, their desk is gone. I actually found a way to fix this in Alpha Witch Academy. You just have an invisible character like hide everything about the character except for their sitting position, and that's how you get a desk prop, and then you can put the desk, in front of the characters. And so they can actually like stand up. Only issue with that is you is that it means you take up more character slots, so you couldn't have a full class like this. Which, by the way, I'm happy to see there's like a full class and not just like 4 students in this. And they all look very fitting for the actual like the color schemes and just like the general art style itself. I always commend whenever I see extras in something because it is such a pain a lot of the time. And I can see if you didn't want to do that, you wouldn't want to have those desks. They also have no chairs. That's one thing you could have fixed here, by the way. Having chair props to the character to sit down in, so they're not sitting on the air. That's the only issue with those desk ones.
you guys were telling the truth. You saw that. So Jay and Maggie were telling the truth. Alice and Stacy to the principal's office immediately.
My pleasure, Miss Doris.
Okay, that felt like it was the first take. Every time they think of this, where it's like, yes, instruction manual, I'm going to read this, and I'm going to try and make it sound natural, but, of course, I have to finish the sentence, and I can't do that all at once. It's a very common thing, by the way, and the reason that, multiple takes in voice acting is so important. If you're, like, that kind of person who, like, likes to, like, familiarize with yourself with it the first take, I know there are quite a few voice actors who do that, actually. Yeah, something that was sped up. I don't think they were. I think they were trying to get through. That's another thing, by the way. Psychologically, for a lot of, particularly first-time VAs, when they get long paragraphs to read, they end up trying to speed them up so that they don't, so they can get them out of the way. Because something where it's like, I got to read all this. Okay, let's just do it quickly, and then pause, and then continue. That's basically, that's what happens to a lot of people, which is why it's a director will usually like try to encourage someone to like split those bits up, or just like do them sequentially, or like at least like pace yourself, because it's got again, differences between reading from a script and voice acting is making it sound like it's the actual thing. It's voice acting after all. That's something that the director and the presumably first time VA had to like work out in the background. The Blanca reminds me of SpongeBob. A little bit, I guess.
Guys, I'm sorry that I cried.
Also, another thing about this is either zoomed in, so we're actually using like a little bit like camera angles, or the background has been resized. And so we can actually have them like sitting on, I guess, the street corner, which, by the way, good way to get run over. But aside from that, Truck-kun is not super common in the Precure franchise, I don't think, so they should be fine. But in general, just like the way that they've like actually zoomed in on there and actually tried to use the medium. Like I said before, if people don't know to do camera angles, just like resize the backgrounds. Another thing that's in Gacha Club. I love that this show is taking advantage of the things that you could do in Gacha Club that weren't possible before it.
In front of the whole class.
Hey.
Oh yeah, by the way, that's another thing. That's one thing about this. Yeah, in terms of I forgot to mention this. One thing I don't like about how this show is presented is the fact that the creator just has, my first episode is out with no description basically and no credits in the description. I'm guessing that there'll be credits in the actual video itself. If not, there should be. I personally like when there's like credits in the description and like links to like people's social media, AFMAU style. That's why I do it myself. All is like people's like YouTube handles, if nothing else. So there's actually like a way for these all these indie creators to promote themselves in that way. Just something that they like to see. Again, we'll reserve judgment for if there's like end credits at the end of this video, because otherwise, Also, another thing about that is that people's usernames change quite a lot. So, you can credit one person's one thing 1 year, and this show's been running for 4 years. So, nearly 5 actually. It's almost 5. So chances are people have definitely redone their handles or something, but the links would last forever. Unless YouTube deletes their channels, which has happened to some of my VAs in the past, but whatever.
It's okay! Oh, my name is Maggie.
Nice to meet you, Maggie. I'm Anna. Is there something that you did from school?
I'm also the student president of the school.
Is there something that you did from school? Some of these lines.
Really? You're the student president? I've always wanted to become a student president. Come on, guys. Let's go get some smoothies.
I was going to be student president. Anyway, enough about that. Let's get some smoothies. I don't care anymore. That is an Aiden level segue right there, if I've ever heard one. I know a lot of people watching this video don't know who Aiden is. You will. You'll eventually know. Behind the boy in 2 does actually have outlines. I generally can't tell. It looked like a shadow. It might have been from the original background, I think. Because Anna had an actual shadow that was resized to her specifically, so I don't think so.
Ugh, there will be no one helping me.
And every production, there's always one voice actor who is too close to the microphone and ends up peaking the audio.
I guess I'll just have to go by myself.
Like I was struggling to lift up his wings, like, I must go myself. Like it's a struggle to get into the air. Okay. This I appreciate, a custom backgrounds that actually does seem like it's zooming away. Because like, he's not actually moving right now in like the green screen, but like that tells you all that you need to know. And the fact that, and also environmentally speaking, that the base is far away. It's gonna take some time. This guy's voice changes really quickly. Sure, fair enough. As long as the person doesn't peak the microphone, then so be it. Honestly, and I know that you're new to my channel, but in general, because I have a gacha show that's even older than this one that's still ongoing, and I have changed voice actors a lot over the years. There are hardly any characters that still have their original voices, and none of them are from season 1. To be continued. Right away, immediately. Here we go. Yep, another Mermaid Melody track. Immediately recognizable. Okie dokie. It's a can event for gacha creators. Past a certain point in your show, yes, absolutely it is. Although then again, I have to ask Prism about this, because I don't know any of the voice actors of the Guardians, aside from Prism herself. I'd have to ask about that. Anyway, look at that dress at the background. Some of these sketches are very extravagantly dressed, but it kind of like works if they're all like that. It just shows you, okay, that's the kind of world that we're in.
Hey Jay, I have a question. What is your favorite food?
Well, Anna, my favorite food is actually sushi and chicken nuggets.
Oh, I can hear the screaming in the background. That's not from the soundtrack. This music is usually for like relatively relaxed scenes most of the time in Mermaid Melody. So yeah, okay. If there's one thing I like more than extras in a gacha video, is extras that move in a gacha video. Maybe not to this distracting degree, potentially, because you want to like hear this line that Jay's saying, and it is already a bit difficult. The music is a bit too loud in this scene, I'm not gonna lie. Either that or Jay's too quiet, one or the other. Basically, the audio bounces off. That's more of an editing issue than it is a VA issue.
Wow, Jay, those from KFC and some burgers from A&W.
Fun fact, actually, in Japan, it's actually tradition to eat KFC at Christmas. So, yeah, stands to reason.
I think we're like first.
All I heard was... Wow, great foods, Jay! Was that a different bell? That was a different bell sound effect. Okay, sure, why not? And speaking of VAs, okay. I mean, again, you know, when you said that that the VAs changed, I didn't think you meant the one that became Charlie Brown's teacher.
Anna, you almost got into trouble.
I know I already got in trouble yesterday, Maggie. Can we listen to the teacher now?
I would love to, but the music is making that impossible, along with the the trumpets, exactly. Yep. I saw that in the comments, so admittedly, I knew I was gonna happen.
What are you looking at? Scram!
Yeah, that's one thing that, you know, would be fixing Gacha Life 2. The characters actually being able to, you know, divert their gaze a bit more. Their head tilt. Another thing that was, you know, not possible without Gacha Club. At least that was you know, that was the closest we got at that point.
Well, that'll be fun.
I can't believe they sent you to the office.
Oh yeah, it's still the first day of school, yeah. Also, okay, I'm guessing that this filter, which is also a thing you can do in Gacha Club, by the way, is meant to symbolize the sunset. Which just reminds me of the time that I tried to do that in post-production and had an orange filter that was leading into like a grey filter, not from Gacha itself. And I just ended up looking horrendous because I'd had them both turned up super high. It was meant to like imply the sun was setting in the background, but it didn't work. Anyway, only now does he arrive. I guess this film does not have teleportation, which is fair. Looped sound effect, like you can tell when it cuts out.
Ooh, this is Earth, Am. Huh.
Actually, why did it not cut out there? Why didn't he just, like, float down and then just, like, immediately just, like, land? Why did he, like, take a second to get his bearings? I don't know.
This looks like the coolest planet.
The stereotypical toxic male character. We have the stereotypical popular girls as well, you know? It's kind of like how in Monster High, for example, where, you know, you still have, like, all the high school tropes imaginable. They're just all monsters.
Oh look, there's a school. Time to release some jewels to freeze people.
That's one thing that I do remember from the original Precure is the fact that it's the fact that actually, well, in the original they didn't freeze, they all fainted when there was like a malignant presence or something. That's what they called it, at least in the Spanish dub. And like each of the different villains actually had, like, you know, like a prism piece. That's what they called them, I think. Well, actually, it was piedra prisma in Spanish, which is no prism stone. So I guess gems makes sense. So I'm on the same page here. Oh, whoops. Okay, just I thought you were saying like pieces, but no, it's because it's pieces mended. Okay, all right, fair enough. You know, the guys were fairies, elves. And we had a dude called Brad. You know, that actually happened in The Hobbit. If you can believe it or not, actually, you know, for Tolkien, for all of his fancy names, for all the different, you know, like creatures or something, you know, like, you know, I am Arwen, daughter of Elrond, and blah, 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 you know, all of that stuff. There was just a troll at one point called William, another one called Bert, I think another one called Henry. Just complete outliers from everything else in Middle Earth. Don't know how the etymology of that worked, to be honest.
Huh? What's that on the sky? Ah! Watch out!
Oh no, it's acid rain. Like you can see, like the dress character just glides. Oh, and I guess that now there are no outlines. Oh, because they're all frozen. Got it. Why are they frozen? But yet the main bad guy is behind our protagonist. Shouldn't they have been blasted first? shouldn't the extras also be closer to the bad guy and therefore also frozen? Why is it that he's going like the furthest away first? Lineless raid. That is one thing you could do in Gacha Club, is that one of the foregrounds is rain. I never used that because it was static, and I also didn't have any scenes that warranted rain in the first place. But you never know. Well, until Mutant God Season 3, until the latest episode actually. But that was Gacha Life 2, so by that time,
What the heck? We gotta get out of here.
We gotta get out of here, man. Yeah, come on. Follow me. Let's go. Let's ditch this scene. Let's bounce, Way too casual for an emergency situation.
Hey, blue-haired girl, I've been looking for you everywhere.
Hey, listen, hey!
Where?
Don't mind me asking, but who are you and where are you coming from?
Yeah, not to mention, why are you interrupting me as I'm trying to flee for my life? Can we have this conversation literally anywhere else, please? Also, there is a villain behind me that is leering, as a... Anyway.
And what is this demon doing?
My name is Fluffy.
Let's read this, first way to it. Athenia Evergarden Gardenia Rosabelle. It was Tim. Oh my goodness! Not even like Timothy Reneus Fandango of the Valley. I don't know, something like that. That would have worked. Ebony Darkness Dementia Raven. Just a bit concerned. Yeah, I'm concerned. There's acid rain that's lineless falling from the sky. There's a villain leering behind her. And meanwhile, this creature decided to show up and be like, hey, listen! Come on here.
And you have to transform. Here's this headband.
Wow, this is actually a pretty headband, but...
Yeah, obviously obligatory thing of like the character saying, oh, this is a very fashionable answer.
Okay, I'll try.
It's the villain is right there. What is happening? Okay, I'll say this. This is actually something that, because again, given the first two anime I watched, again, original Precure and Mermaid Melody, two magical ghost shows, so of course they had the transformation issue. That I later saw again with like stuff like Winx Club, for example. It's in everything, where if a character has to transform, they just end up like, the villains just wait. Which, usually you think, okay, they're like, the villains are attacking something or someone, or they're decently far away. Like, I think in, like, original Precure, they usually, they're secret entities, so they were all secret, so they had to transform away from the villain's sight. So there was that was never an issue. In the case of Mermaid Melody, same deal. The princesses did, hid their human forms. Yes, they did. In the mermaid form, they had like the whole waiting thing, but I always thought like they're like a protection bubble or something that sometimes did get interrupted. In this case, the villain is right there. I feel like at that distance, you can just literally just be like, yoink! I'm keeping that headband for myself now. Thanks for the power. Goodbye, and be done with it. Come on.
Hi,
Anna, wait!
Yeah, all that happens. Exactly. Yeah, this, by the way, is not the transformation music from Mermaid Melody, so I guess we are deviating. There is water, though, so... Oh, this I really like, the way you, like, cut around, and actually remove the silhouette for the editing. That's fantastic. I haven't seen that in any Gacha transformation sequences. Could have done without the shadow underneath it, though. That's still a lingering thing that should have been dealt with. That's why I don't tend to use them, incidentally. Oh look, her hair now looks like her sister's. Surprise, confused with blindness.
I'm pure water.
Again, I just finished watching Death Note, so I heard Kira water, not Cure water. That's my bad.
What am I wearing? This is a pretty looking gown.
Okay, again, if you want to have a character reacting to their fashion choice, which again is a thing that happens, also happened in My Melody, not gonna lie. You just have the moment where like they look at themselves usually, and then have like a bit of like a like a cutesy reaction with a smile, hopefully, rather than just being like, "This is a cute gown. What the heck? I hate cute things."
Huh? You're the Lost Queen's daughter. Ha! The Queen's daughter would never hurt me.
Did Anna just
Try me.
transform?
Lost Queens.
Pretty is a way to describe that. Not the right one, though. Oh my goodness. Again, the issue, like, mostly comes down to the outlines not doing their job as outlines. Just over villain getting interrupted by a monologue and saying, you know, let her go, then made laugh by saying, well, it wasn't very nice. Go back and try that again. Well, yeah. The villain monologues and hero transformation sequences are kind of like mirrors of each other when you think about it that way. They're just kind of like the conventions that, you know, people just don't ignore. The ballroom gown, you're gonna fight with that. Ballroom pops, that's all I'll say.
Daughter? What the heck are you talking about?
Wait.
Jay?
Also, it depends, by the way, answer to this question, it depends on, like, how the fights are done. Because, yes, in close combat, if I'd, like, throw a kick or something, or, you know, run away, that would be very impractical. You're right. If all the fights are, you know, magically inclined, kind of like how, you know, like, kind of like how they do them in Winx Club, you rarely ever see any members of Winx throwing a punch. In fact, in My Melody, actually, if you, because they show you to be on YouTube at one point, one of the comments point out the one time that Hanan, one of the princesses, actually threw a punch because it was so out of character for the show to even go in that direction. So it really depends. If you're just like, you know you're using like magical powers and like throwing lasers from a distance or something, you wouldn't technically need to move that much or like to move to that degree unless you want to dodge something.
Princess. Come on, Maggie.
Wait for me, Jay!
Come on, Maggie.
Are you sure I could do this?
Also, I guess that's one way of having your identity discovered, which is one thing that they usually make an effort not to do in this show.
I'm really scared.
Trust me, Pure Water. You gotta trust me.
Okay, I got.
Yeah, trust me, you gotta trust me. Source, trust me, bro. I don't know about this one.
to do this. I'm gonna do this.
Before this Outside Princess series where the princesses got powers and fought them in massive ball gowns, pretty hair and makeup, they came out looking perfect. I mean, you're roughly the same, I guess, although Two Pops was, you know, I guess they had shorter outfits, but they were much more glittery, so I guess that's how they compensated. Didn't want to have your VA scream? That's why. I get it now.
Great, I'll be back for you.
Did the voice filter disappear at that point? I think it did.
Did I just actually did that?
Did I just actually did that? Are these the actual lines, or are these like the VA trying to remember their lines and then say them and like getting them wrong?
Wow, Anna, that was awesome.
Yeah, Anna, that was awesome.
Thanks,
Awesome. The most emoting that Jay has done thus far.
guys. Also, Fluffy actually chosen me because I was the chosen one.
So someone chose you because you're the chosen one. No. You got that backwards. You become the chosen one when someone chooses you, not because you're already the chosen one. That's what the word means. Someone had to choose you for you to be a chosen. Oh, okay. If anything, she was like handing you your powers. She didn't choose you. Something else did in that case. You think it's improv? Wait, this was it? How do you improv this? Okay, no, I need to know more about this. What is the directorial process for this series? Please, while I do like the final thoughts or something, or at the end of this video, please outline that for me. I need to know, how is this show directed?
And I don't know who is this Lost Queen's daughter is.
So you're okay people knowing you're the chosen one, that you accept immediately, but not the Lost Queen's daughter thing? That's too much for you? That's where you draw the line. You know, Lost Queen's daughter, no. Chosen one, perfect. It's like the Drake meme. Lost Queen's daughter. Chosen one.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. You're Cure Water! Cure Water! Oh my god, you're the...
Yes, you knew that before, didn't you? You literally said she was the chosen one. She declared herself to be Cure Water. You called her Cure Water in the last scene, and now you're coming out saying, oh my gosh, you're Cure Water. Yes, obviously she's Cure Water.
Lost Queen's daughter.
Thank you so much for choosing me. Also...
For choosing me. Good. Okay. It's falling apart. It's
Oh,
falling apart.
I'm gonna unfreeze these girls. Those are my bullies.
Huh?
What was that meant to be like? I'm gonna unfreeze these girls. It's my duty as a hero. Also, they're my bullies. Okay. By the way, is that all the times the bullies end up being the ones that you need to save in a lot of hero stories because that's meant to show like how righteous they are. That's kind of the reason that Bob Roth exists in Miraculous for the most part. It's just like, yes, this guy that everyone hates, but he needs saving constantly. Of course, you got to do it because heroes. It makes sense.
Since I found you, we have to look for 8 more girls.
I think there's whether it goes live languages in English. Yeah, the native language thing, that is entirely possible. I also got that impression. I don't want to say anything, but I got that impression. Although that's an easy fix, have someone who speaks the language check your script before you actually finish it, or, put it through like some sort of like grammar checker to make sure that it's okay. And also, or maybe like have the voice actors tell you that something is wrong as well. Because otherwise, the first, so get someone to check it. Yeah, exactly. There you go.
8 more girls?
8 is a lot for a show, by the way. Like, again, I know I said before that, Precure end up having, like, much more, like, split focus, but that's one thing to worry about with Magical Girl shows, is that the more that you add, the less focus you can give them, for longer. That's the thing. Let me check if they do have one. Well, I mean, noble as that is, this show, again, is almost 5 years old. It's the second episode of 17, so I'm guessing that by now they might have more of a structure to it. Although I'm still want to know about the directorial things. I hope that Ina's still in the middle of typing that out.
How about we stop that Maggie first?
Stop that Maggie? Wait, but Maggie was your friend. Why is she need to be stopped? What? Oh, okay. Well, so that was that was the first 2 episodes of a Shining Rainbow Precure. Not inconsistent to each other at this point, but it definitely did start to fall apart, like towards like the final scene, like a lot of things ended up happening, and like I'm not sure. So yeah, but other than that, a very solid start. I mean, I'm impressed by how much they use the medium of Gacha Club and all of it. Like it actually had to offer. The only thing that wasn't used, of course, that I can think of right now is the narrator speech bubbles thing. But there's no need for them because there's no need for a narrator. So we get everything we need to from like to know as the audience from just the characters and like the story itself, with the exception of the transformation thing. That's where it kind of started to feel a bit more exposition-y and also like a bit more like it was like trying to pick up the pace a little bit, maybe because the episode was getting too long at some stage. I'm not really sure. Yeah, that's the only part that felt like it was rushed. Everything else, you can like even like the solid details of the extras running away in the background. That's something that that's stronger than you think. started doing like in the remake that I was like really enamored with at the time when I first saw like the remake of it, and then it was a thing that they started to keep adapting later. So in this case, this one was kind of like ahead of the game, and it also proves it doesn't like take that much to make something like this. Like transformation sequence and such, having a little bit of post production, the custom background of the bad guy flying basically, but most of the other stuff is done like in actual gacha. Because if you know what you're doing, you know what it has to offer, you can actually get more out of the app itself, and that's what I really hope more people would do in terms of evolving their craft, rather than like, I know that I started making gacha with a pre-existing knowledge of post-production, but yeah, like some people didn't, and that's one thing where they think, oh, the bar is set so high in gacha that you can't end up doing like all this other stuff, and it's like, well, in some cases, you don't have to. In some cases, the game just kind of gives this stuff to you itself, if you know what you're doing. Maybe we should make another video about that, how to make gacha videos without too much editing in them. That'll be a nice one. That'll be a nice video, not gonna lie. Yeah. Need improvement. It would say all the spoilers would be improvement. Just go climb up a mountain of old episodes. Well, that's great, because what you all know me, one thing I love to do is see how episodes actually evolve. One thing I will ask Ghost Kitty is, do they have the shadows removed? Because I feel that seems to be holding them back at the moment. But yeah, I love to see the evolution of this kind of thing anyway. And and to talk about like how those improvements can actually happen, and it gives you like a bit more of like a clue to like where to begin. But honestly, even from like the beginning point, this is by no means like a bad production or not competent in terms of its editing, because I mean, the fact that I recognize the soundtrack definitely means that they went out of their way to source a different soundtrack and applied the tracks in a fitting manner, which not everyone does, and that they actually like kind of thought this through, at least after the acting process. Maybe the acting was a bit too improv at this point, which is kind of interesting, because like again, it's competent on both visuals and story, and usually gacha is better in one or the other when it comes to like maybe people's content, and it takes a while for them to catch up. But here with both of them, they're starting with okay foundations, more than okay in fact, but there's still some room to go. So I'm excited to see where that goes, and I might have to skip to episode 17 if I don't have enough time before Gacha Fest as a judge. But yeah, we'll see where that goes. There's also PS Creators the most recent episode. Oh, great, because I forgot to mention, yeah, there's no other ones in here. That's one thing. If the creator watched this video, I suggest going back and adding the credits and possibly the social medias of your VAs, because that's just kind of like a good thing to do in indie productions, to be honest. It's just kind of like, the nice thing to do, really. But yeah, other than that, I'm looking forward to this. We'll come back to this in a week, because I for those people who are watching this who are new, I never watch the same thing, or videos from like the same channel or from the same series within like less than a week of each other, because I like to try to like space things out, so like I don't hyper focus on a show and I have like a variety of things going on at once. So yeah. Oh, and also I do have guests on here a lot of the time, so if anyone wants to like come in as a guest and talk about this at some other points, in VC form, like in the camera format like this, find me on Discord, and it's just my same username and same logo, so you should be able to find me fairly easily. So yeah, let me know, and see you in a week. So please leave a like or dislike, because your opinion matters, and subscribe if you've done so already. And on that note, until next time, farewell.